Hello everyone and welcome to this week's content. We are now in week 10, which means we are 2/3 of the way done with our course. There are only 5 more weeks to go. So far, we've been introduced to rhetoric and the rhetorical terms that one uses. We've been practicing applying those terms throughout our various assignments, and we are now entering the research/presentation phase of our course. Much of the last 2 chapters of Heinrichs should be familiar, as they serve to recap the various topics that we've been discussing throughout the semester. Again, the first thing we want to keep in mind when we are trying to create a persuasive argument is what are our goals for our audience? Do we want to change their mood, their mind, or their willingness to act? Remember that such persuasive arguments are based on the appeals to character, logic, and emotion, and rely heavily on rhetorical timing. That is, we can tell when the time is right to persuade an audience when their attitudes, beliefs, or values seem to be on the move. Remember that persuasion rests on the rhetor's ability to sell his or herself to an audience on an idea, a product, or even themselves. Make your audience desire the same future that you do. Again, as a recap, ethos, or selling yourself, is based on practical wisdom, virtue, disinterested goodwill, creating an identity strategy, and of course, when in doubt, conceding your opponent's point. You want to make sure that you're framing your argument in a deliberative fashion that puts the audience at ease, that figures around the advantageous. That is, you want to avoid language that includes values or forensic evidence. They don't work. Remember also that logos literally means the word. Employing logic is more than just reciting facts and figures. You must be careful to present information in an ethical manner and avoid using language such as right and wrong. These particular questions are key and should appear in your presentations and papers, the directions for which will be provided in next week's content. What are we going to do about X, Y, or Z? How can we make choices that are advantageous to as many people as possible? And finally, how can we be more open to others' discourse? Rhetoric is a powerful tool and has been used to train people for leadership for centuries. It is also an invaluable tool of democracy. Contrary to what many past presidential candidates have proffered, America was not founded as a Christian nation. Rather, it was founded as a rhetorical nation. Deliberative rhetoric was initially employed to prevent factions from forming. Values-laden rhetoric has fostered breakdowns in political debates. Witness the recent government shutdown, for example. Ideological bubbles only allow us to express our differences through anger, diatribe, extremism, and dogmatism. Argument, as you remember, is not the same as fighting. We eventually have to get deliberative if we want to get anything done. Also, don't forget Aristotle's definition of virtue. It's a matter of character, concerned with choice, lying in a mean.